Okay, so once you've finished all the cleanup of the breaths and all of that, your project might look a little bit more like this. There are various fades and all that, but everything's pretty much cleaned up. And now we're ready to move on to some more sophisticated processing. I thought it would be fun to introduce the flex pitch right now. And I know that there are lots of other things that we could do, and we could work on like reverbs and delays and I suppose distortions and certainly compression and all of the above. And of course EQ. EQ is a big one. But I thought it would be fun to go into the flex pitch right now. And in order to get ready for flex pitch, though, I have to get all of these tracks ready to go. So one thing that happens when you go into flex pitch is you end up losing all of your fades, and we don't want to lose those. It's just something that happens when you go on to the flex. So we want to get it ready, you know, to do the flex. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some new files. So over under File, there's a little drop down that says Bounce. And the bounce says Regions in Place, Track in Place, and Replace All Tracks. And this is also what you would call a destructive type of editing, where it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to move on after this, and so we want to make sure that we have everything saved. You know, so you go ahead and save everything. Make sure that it's saved, and then you get ready for the next step. And it's probably a good idea to save as. So we'll save as. And I'm just going to call it flex and 2. Alright. So getting ready for the flex. You know, we want to save it ahead of time. And now I'm going to go down to the bounce. Now there's some different bounce features. One is the regions in place, like this speech one. Well, we can bounce that one in place. So if I go to bounce regions in place, then it's going to ask me a few things. One is we want to name it, and you can go ahead and name it just exactly what's there, or I'll change it a little bit, and I'm just going to call it BNC for bounce. Let's see, new track, source, mute the old track, or you could choose to delete the old track. First time I'm going to just mute the old track, and include audio tail in file. We don't have any plugins to worry about. Include volume and pan automation. I want to not choose that, because if I have volume and pan automation, then automatically the track is going to be a stereo track. I don't want to take these mono tracks and turn them into stereo tracks right now. And there we go. And it's just going to take the regions that are existing, and you can see up here the original in pieces is now muted with little blue dots there. and it's there, but it just happens to be muted. And then here's the new track, and it just started from this region and went all the way to the end. Okay, so now let me show you another style. Let's go to this one. This is the main vocal, and I'll go to File and Bounce, and we'll go to Bounce Track in Place, and you're going to see that it's going to really start from the beginning of the track until the end. So Vox, and I call it BNC for bounce. New track, replace, oh, get rid of that. And let's see what happens this time. I'm going to call it Vox Bounce, and here we go. So it's going to start this one at the very beginning of the project, and you can see that this one happens to be muted again. That's the original, but now it's taken from the beginning until I guess the last vocal, and it's just made one continuous strip of audio, and it's basically making a new audio. So when you talk about destructive editing, this is destructive because it's hard to get back to the original. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to do this for the rest of these, but I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive to show you some of the different options. Okay. Okay, so we can replace the track. This is for breaths. And then we'll do the same thing. Replace the track. Let's see, File, Bounce, Track in Place, and replace the track. Good, good, good. There we go. So you can see that you don't have these original tracks there any longer. And so a lot of times I like to take these original tracks, which we're not really using anymore, and I like to hide them. So right there, hide track, and hides that one. And we'll do the same thing here. Track, go down to hide track, bang. And one other part of the drop down is right below hide track. There is unhide all tracks. Okay. So there we go. So I'm going to continue to do these for the rest of these tracks. So do one at a time. Okay, so once all your tracks are all bounced, then they're going to look a little bit like this. And now we're going to get ready for the flex. And I'm going to solo this track. Oh, you at the top. So one thing that the flex or the auto tune has trouble with is it'll have trouble with multiple voices, and so this background vocal has two parts. Oh, you at the top. So I'm not going to want to mess around with that too much. Mountain. So that one is just one voice. So that's the one voice. And okay, so I think pretty much everything is one voice except for these two guys right here.
For you at the top.
So I think there are just two people singing into the same microphone together just for that part right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a track. Okay, new track, and let's make an audio track. No input, perfect. Okay, and I guess I'll call it duet. And let me make sure that I've got that right.
For you at the top.
Okay, so we get our handy marquee tool ready, and I'll just take a section. Oh, and I do want to have my pointer tool, because when I press the pointer tool, it makes a new region, and then I'll bring that down right there. And I think that'll be probably okay now. Let's see here. Okay. So let's join those regions together. It's like that. And now it's like one region again. Just like that. Well, there's a lot of little sneaky little things you can do to do processing and make your tracks, come together or whatever. It's really a very powerful program. Okay, so now I think we're ready for the flex, and you can see this right here. That is your flex, and so when I push that, it's going to give me the opportunity or option for flex in each of my tracks. So let me go to this one, and I'll just flex it. So it'll start to analyze. And this is, by the way, a big CPU usage, and you need to be careful because you can start, bogging down your system with too much CPU. So there we go, and right off the bat, it goes to flex time, and flex time is not what we want. We want to go up to flex pitch, and then it will reanalyze, and then it should come up with the flex pitch very soon. Okay, very good. And we can begin to process like right here, and we can grab all those points if we want to, and we can actually set them all to perfect pitch right now, which I'll do. And but there's another place that we can look at them too. We can double click this, and it takes us down to this scissors over here for kind of the MIDI type of editing. And see if I can find some tracks. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So you can see the track right there. That's the wave form itself. And then we've taken flex pitch and we've processed it. Okay, and I just went ahead and set everything to perfect pitch, but there are some other things that we can do to it, and very interesting. Like, you can certainly fine-tune the pitch just a little bit if we feel like we want to, and I'll leave it at 0 right now. Pitch drift is basically when you go from the end of a note to another note, and then at the beginning we have a pitch drift at the beginning of, and so we can move that down or up. I just realized that I'm doing that to all of the highlighted regions, so I want to unhighlight them right now. And so gain, well, sometimes there are parts of the vocal that are too soft or too loud, and you can individually change the gain for that particular part of a pitch, which is really nice. I don't use it very much, but it is something that's there. And the formant, well, I'll show you that in a little bit. Vibrato, the vibrato can be actually flattened right out so that there's no vibrato whatsoever.
For all I know.
I mean, you can hear all the vibrato, and I can straighten all those out if I want to from the vibrato. This one, you know, maybe it would be a good idea to just to flatten that out some. I'm being very aggressive flattening it. I'm sure that I don't need to do that, but just for effect, I'll show it to you.
For all I know.
I mean, for background vocals in particular, a lot of times you don't want to have too much vibrato anyway, just to make everything sync and line up together. And so, you could very well, you know, take all of the vibrato out all at once. I have to find my... Okay, so I have to find my tracks again. And I think everything is highlighted, so I can just move everything all at one time to 0 if I want to.
All I know.
Yeah, that particular one got messed up because it was 0 and now I don't think it is any longer. Oh, yeah. So we'll take this back to 0. That one's vibrato of 4, that's fine. This one, take that one back to 0 as well. There.
For all I know.
You know, and there's something else that you can do that's a whole lot of fun. It's called the formant. And I'll highlight everything. And, you know, the formant shift is, I guess it's kind of the chipmunk shift. Like if you just want to raise that up really high, and I did that for all those sounds. This is going to sound really bad, but...
All I know.
So it starts actually making it sound more and more like a chipmunk. Let's go up even higher with everything. Let's go up really high. And see what that sounds like.
All I know.
Okay, not exactly a chipmunk yet, but it's approaching. So let's go up even higher. Let's make it very dramatic. Whoa, up we go. Okay, 1208. Let's hear what that sounds like. Alright, good. It's starting to sound like chipmunks. Well, maybe that's too high. Maybe we want to go really, really low instead. And so, well, let's do that. Let's bring it down. You know, I can actually pick any of these because I've got the whole track highlighted right now. So all those individuals. So let's go down really low and hear what that formant shift does to the track. Okay. Weird. Yeah, that doesn't sound very good at all. So bring it up like that. Just makes it sound like it's a deeper voice person. I guess that's how you can get your bass. Let's go back. Oops, let's go back to the way that it was. Getting closer. And we certainly can change little bits of the format anyway.
For
now it's back.
all I know.
Like a lot of times, I do like to take the vibrato out of, the background vocal. Yeah, it just depends. It really depends on, because you have to be, of course, listening and making that distinction yourself. Let's see.
For all I know.
Yeah, so you do have to listen to it, and sometimes just going straight to perfect pitch does weird things to the sound, and this is one place that sounds pretty weird.
For all I know.
Yeah. So there are some different things that we can do to try to fix that. Let's see. Vibrato seems fine. Maybe we'll bring that. Maybe bring that pitch up a little bit.
All I know.
Yeah, that's a little bit better. So you can see kind of how the pitch shift can work as it goes in and out of different notes.
All I know.
Sounds a little better. Anyways, lots of little adjustments that you can make, and you certainly have to listen to all of these.
All I know.
And also listen to them all together.
We'll count for much tomorrow. For all I know. Won't count for much tomorrow. If wisdom comes with age, well, I must be growing. He says your brother and I will be waiting for you at the top.
It isn't the climb to the top of the mountain that makes you stronger.
Okay. So certainly any of these that you wish to change into the flex time, you go ahead and do that, and you know, for each of them you choose flex time. And then you go up and choose flex pitch. We'll analyze it one more time, and then you've got the flex pitch, and it's ready to roll. And I mean, you do have to be aware that flex pitch does put a lot of stress on your computer because it's a high CPU. And so once you get things set up the way that you want them, then you're probably going to want to do another bounce in place. And bounce regions, bounce track in place. And what it's going to do is take all the MIDI portions of this and then turn it back into a basic audio track. And I'm going to keep this unclicked here, this include volume pan automation. I don't want to have a stereo file. And so this is the Vox. We got Vox 2, and I'll call it Flex this time. You know, all these files get stored in your file folders and your project folders, and you can find them all, but sometimes it's hard to find them unless you're very organized about how you label them. So let's see what that does. It's a bouncing track, and then we take this and then, oops, it's doing the flex again, but and we shut that off. And I think what you end up with is
All I know.
so it's back again to just an audio file, but any pitch problems and vibratos and things like that have been fixed. And I noticed that I didn't take care of this part properly, where
At the top.
I'm going to want to get rid of that at some point, and maybe that's good right now. And the reason that sounds weird is because there's two vocals there, and you can hear what the flex pitch does to that.
Oh yeah, at the top.
Has a lot of trouble with that, so certainly I have this track, and I can just highlight that and get rid of it, and I had already pulled that down below so that I have it from before.
Mountain. Oh yeah, at the top.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better. And there you go. So that's your introduction to the flex, and certainly you want to prepare things so that you can get ready for the flex. And so have fun.